Good morning, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms. And today, so it's August 17th, and a lot of schools are going back in session today. So congratulations, families that are going back to school. So my kids are at Great Hearts, and they actually started last week. So we're kind of in the groove already. But I have some thoughts and a kind of a message about back to school that I hope provides some inspiration and some hope for the members of the online community. So here goes. Um, the elements I think are really key to keep in mind for back to school, especially this year, is so they are love, high expectations, and flexibility. So let me explain why those three elements I think are really important. So for love, I think the way we need to show love to our children is by helping them feel safe. That these are really strange times, but we can, um, you know, and it's going to look a little different for each family, but that might be, explaining about the situation at large, answering their questions. It might mean, choosing some activities and not choosing others. It might mean like who you decide to socialize with, whether that's extended family, whether it's, a few families in a homeschooling pod, but whatever decisions you make, just, show love to your children by staying safe and helping them, not just keeping them physically safe, but also explaining what you're doing so that they understand why you're making the choices you're making, and that helps them inside themselves to feel safe. Um, I also think we need to show love by treating ourselves and the people around us with grace. That we're going to be, we're going to make mistakes. There's going to be times when we feel distracted or preoccupied. There's times when it's going to be harder to concentrate, and that's true for adults and that's true for kids. And you think we'd be getting used to this by now because it's been almost 6 months, but it still kind of gets me sometimes. So I know I need to give myself grace sometimes for feeling not quite myself. And I encourage you to do that for your kids too, because there might be times when they just feel a little off. They need a little time and space. Um, so you can show love by giving grace. Um, Another thing is being a good listener to their questions. That whatever concerns they have, and developmentally it's going to be different at different ages. But if they're wondering why they need to wear a mask in a certain situation, why they can't be on campus and see their friends, why they can go to something but they have to stay a certain distance apart. Um, you know, just there's just lots of questions. And even as adults, we have lots of questions. I mean, I try to keep up with the news, but it feels like information is always changing. So, um, just um, your kids are going to have lots of questions, and just show them love by trying to listen and answer as best you can. Um, and I think a key thing with love is just say it out loud. Say "I love you" to your children, to the people in your life. Don't just assume that they know. Say it. Say "I love you" and say it out loud, and not just in the words, but show it in your actions. However they appreciate love. Whether it's fixing food for them, or if it's giving praise for something that they do well. If it's making time to do an activity together that they enjoy. Watching a favorite movie or taking a dance break. Um, there's lots of little ways to show love. So I encourage you to say it out loud. Say "I love you" to your children. They need to hear it right now, especially. And find those little times, those little ways to do activities, or to through your actions to show that you love them. Um, so another element, in addition to love and flexibility, is high expectations. That um, even as disrupted as things are, that it actually benefits all of us to have high expectations. And a key way to express that is through structure. That I know it's good for myself. I know it's good for my kids. And back to school, it's a good time for a reboot. Whether that's having a sleep schedule, whether it's like setting aside certain times for exercise, having consistent meal times, having time to play outside, having some screen free time, having some media time where you all have to agree on one movie to watch. Just having some structure and some rhythms. And before the pandemic, I felt like a lot of our rhythms were dictated by things happening outside the family. But this is an opportunity for us to express our choices, our preferences, and build the structure that works for us. And I hope that some of that carries forward into the future. Um, but yeah, structure is a way to set the foundation for being able to live up to high expectations. Um, Another thing is having doing measuring progress, and what that could be. Um, I mean, a key aspect of that is just showing up. That it's important to whether you're choosing distance learning or you're choosing homeschooling. Make a plan and stick with it and show up. So when it's time to log in, everybody needs to log in. If it's time for homeschool time, put everything else away and focus on that. And it's harder at first, but it gets easier with consistency and with habits. Um, it's it's one thing I've learned is that a lot of things it just takes a good process, right? So you can have a goal, but you need a process to get there. So whether that's taking a big job and breaking it into smaller jobs and working on it in pieces, and a lot of skills just take practice, and that's a lot of what kids are doing. So like when it comes to foreign languages, it's practicing the vocabulary and practicing the verbs. If it's elementary school kids in math, they got to practice the math facts, doing the multiplication tables. Um, it's not glamorous, but putting in the time, um, it's what it takes to get things done. And we do have we do have time on our hands, right? So it's really a question of how do we use this time? How do we you know um, I guess one way to look at it is, are you choosing the activities that will lay the foundation for things in the future, right? So making sure that your kids are making progress on literacy and math, will open up possibilities for them in the future. Um, and it's also a matter of doing things that feel relevant. So, talking to your kids about their lifetime goals and, making sure that they're good at using technology, whether it's the devices or tablets that you get from school, if it's using office software, if it's using like teleconference video conference software, um, learning to touch type, there's lots of technology skills that our kids could be learning, and even coding, things that might um, open up good possibilities for jobs in the future, that jobs that will survive COVID hopefully. um, so that's why those are some examples of why I think high expectations really matter in these times. And then also flexibility, right? Because I think one thing we're learning is that learning it's not about the building, it's not about what the place or the structure is called. Um, that it really comes down to having those processes and also having the relationships, and that's where the love comes in too, right? Is that you know the process means you're breaking things into steps, and you're putting in the time, you have the structure and the high expectations, but the relationships mean that whether it's a parent, a teacher, a mentor, a tutor, um, that there's someone that the student knows loves them, has high expectations for them, and is going to support them along the way, and answer their questions, and say I love you, and do the things along the way that demonstrate that love. And those are those to me are the keys to success. And over the summer we've talked about lots of different activities that families do. We've talked about what we're hearing about schools reopening and things like that. But today, on a day when a lot of schools are reopening, I just wanted to come back to these fundamentals about back to school, and I hope that it's kind of a refresher, to be thinking about, what are some of these things that really matters? What are these things that are going to get us through some difficult times? So just to kind of recap, my back to school message is focus on these things, right? Focus on love, show your children your love, say I love you out loud to them, um, answer their questions, help them feel safe, um, high expectations. So have structure, measure progress, show up, turn things in, look at grades, um, and lay the foundation for what's going to matter in the future, and talk about things that are relevant, whether it's technology, whether it's long-term goals, um, and be flexible, because learning doesn't have to be tied to a particular building or a system. that it's really about the having a process and having relationships so that the practice gets done, the habits are there, and also that the students know that there's somebody looking out for them. If it's a parent, a teacher, a tutor, a mentor, there's somebody who loves them, will answer their questions, will help them feel safe, and who believes in them. So that's my back to school message, and I hope that it gives you some comfort or some inspiration during a really stressful time. So I always say, hey, we got some comments. Good morning, John. Good morning. Thanks for coming and listening to Turtle Mouse Chats. And another good morning message from Ashley. Thank you so much. I've been doing these messages since March, and um, you know, it's in some ways things change, and other things ways, we're still spending a lot of time at home, and we still, have to manage our own schedule, and we have to, find ways to stay positive and find hope. So I hope that for those of you having your kids back to school today, I hope it's a great day, and I hope it's a start to what is a promising school year. Oh, John says thanks. Thank you, John. Thank you, and please help spread the word. Okay, and we've got just if you're not already a member, please join the Sanitary Charter Moms discussion group on Facebook because we'll be talking a lot about back to school there. Okay, thanks, y'all. Bye.